I learned a lot about the history of the struggles that people have had and how they've had to adapt. And it made me think about what we can all do to move forward.
Well, Audrey, we want to thank you for being alive today, for being able to come to this place to celebrate those generations that went before us.
I think I've seen clips of it before, but the full version of it is really, really good to see. And it hits home quite a lot with some of the things that they highlighted in the film itself.
Those who were not born into our culture, I'd like to introduce you to our culture, and this is how we did it. Please take it away, Pastor Baker. On your feet, please.
So tonight we're going to celebrate the Windrush movie. It's called the Windrush, the years after, a community legacy on film.
This film is a really important contribution to the history of black people in Britain. I'm not just saying that because, I've been invited here tonight to say that. It really is plays a very significant part in future histories.
I'm saying, please, ladies and gentlemen, it's in the spirit of determination and the desire to do our best is how I would watch that film. Thank you very much.
The Windrush generation are seen as those Caribbeans who came to Britain between 1948 to 1971. But what about their children and grandchildren of those economic migrants who came to Britain in search of a better life?
National denominations, there was a sense that they didn't feel they were welcomed, and so hence the need to look at places of worship where they could define who they were and worship God.
Looking at tales of pubs in Huddersfield town centre in the suburbs charging those non-whites more for a beer, something as everyday and normal as going along to a public house.
But the one thing that stood out and has stood the test of time is the community spirit. And I am so proud tonight to stand here and to be part of this event and to applaud every single contributor that has taken part in the making of this film.
I was thinking about it whilst watching it, how you feel about listening to all those different people, those incredible people who tell their stories and they speak about where they've come from, the struggles they've overcome to get to where they are, and also the generations thereafter who have come so far, but also recognise, appreciate and respect what those before them did.
Tonight's event was very inspiring, I watched with intensity the stories that people were telling, and it's a very painful story, but it's necessary for us to tell those stories. It also gives us some strength to go on and to reflect on our journey to our young children, how far we've travelled and the things that we've endured to reach where we've reached at this moment in time.
I think it's important that we involve young voices in our stories, even if it's just telling the history and then getting them to relate to it in terms of the positive things that they do, but also to respect and acknowledge the negative things.
Really, really enjoyed it. I love the way that we can share our identities, our cultures and our background and the history, the shared culture that we all have here in Huddersfield. That makes us who we are, and we're much better off for having people of different backgrounds, faiths and beliefs working together.
So the reference to what our parents went through and our grandparents went through will never be lost.
No.
Right? And that is a testimony to our grandparents and parents. But it's time now to start showing the younger generation, like Noah Shakespeare, that we are kings and queens in our community. We are striving forward regardless of what life throws at us. we get up and we keep going. And that's what our parents and our grandparents gave us.
You ask the right questions and you don't get angry about things, and you use certain language. If you lose the emotive language, you're not going to get anywhere. So you use language where, although it means the same thing, but people may answer it in a different way.
When somebody says to you in the university, where do you come from? And I say to them, have you ever heard of a place called Sunny Honley? That's where I come from. They're left with that embarrassment, not me, because I am proud of being a black woman. I am proud of what I stand up for. And more than anything, I am proud of what I've achieved for my mum, my dad, and my ancestors who could never achieve the things that we're achieving now.
There was lots of things that I can learn about professionally and working within the police service, how we can make things better for everyone and how we can engage more with communities. But personally as well, I really enjoyed learning about the history of people of Huddersfield.
All what we're doing really is not for ourselves. We are doing it for the future and for the younger generation. And what I've gathered now that everybody's, they're on them phone. So what we need to do is to get some information on the phone, online, that if they won't come to us, we go to them.
We have to go to them.
So I think that's what we need to do. If they won't come to us, we go to them.
To our audience who stayed behind to hear the panel, thank you. Without you, none of this could be happening. So God bless, safe journey home, and good night.